Hi, everyone. I'm Dave Bovin. I serve as the Dean of the School of Business and Technology at Chipola College. And today is our weekly tech topic. We have with us today our continual co host, Ben Bridges. Welcome.
Glad to be here.
And you had a hashtag, maybe?
Yes, so we were thinking if you have any comments on these videos in the future, please use the hashtag CCWTT for Chipola College Weekly Tech Topic.
Fantastic, Ben. So this is an exciting time on campus. We are amidst of the fall semester. We're in our third week, so we have some good momentum. Classes are busy, both face-to-face and online. Within the School of Business and Technology, it's an exciting place to be.
Absolutely.
We have online classes, face-to-face classes during the day. For our baccalaureate program, our bachelor's programs, we have classes in the evening or online. And it's exciting. For our bachelor students, there seems to be some good growth from our associate graduates. Those in the bachelor's program can focus on accounting, computers, engineering, management. What's neat about management is we have students, say, who are athletes. They can major in sports management, those who work in retail environment, hospitality, forestry, you name it, management applies. So it's an exciting time on campus. We seem to have a lot of interest. It's good to collaborate with the other students, especially when they're not all technologists. It's good to share technology best practices. And kind of that's the origin of our discussion today of, having some good best practices that can be utilized by anyone. We have a popular programming class or a popular technology class on campus. It's our Intro to Programming. It used to be a very seminal, historic course that was compiled in the structured language. I have to be honest, enrollment really dropped off. But over a few years ago, we created a scripting class out of it, and it's been a blast. And at times we've had 2 sections running for a semester. It's a fun class. So today we're going to talk about some basic programming concepts, and this will lead into some additional footage where we'll be more specific. We'll bring in some computer-based tutorials, and we'll have a chance to look at both scripting and compiled programming. But it's fun. I mean, Ben is a master at programming, so get us started with some programming ideas, Ben.
Okay, so the main thing we would like to talk about today would be an introduction to programming languages. I know in a previous video that we went over something like it was services that you could learn programming with. I know we talked about Code Academy and Code Wars, and I think it was W3 Schools.
CodePen.
Yes, CodePen as well. And we would like to discuss a general introduction to programming languages for all of the people who are interested in that. First of all, programming languages it's probably safe to say there's at least 100 of them that are used.
Yes.
And although there are about 10 that are used the most, and they vary in utility. Some are for web development, some are for like circuit design. I know we have Jeremy, who comes on the show often. He is studying Verilog, which is a form of circuit design through coding.
Which can improve mining if you participate in the mining activities for Bitcoin or coin trading. So
right.
Programming can get very specific.
Right.
Just like the Verilog. So
yes. And there are also other uses like DIY projects. I brought the Raspberry Pi that I discuss a lot for that specific example. You can program things like a virtual server. You can have a smart home built out of it. People do a lot of like very interesting costume designs or light work with it. And there's a lot of uses in that aspect from something like Python or C#.
So what's exciting to think about scripting, some basic foundational scripting languages, HTML, CSS, also known as cascading style sheets, they work well together for web development. So many things with an app front end, a web-based front end, whether it's on your PC or your mobile phone, can be manipulated or created with HTML or CSS. Even a more popular, probably the most used programming language, definitely on the front end, would be maybe JavaScript.
Right.
Maybe not the hottest, Python might be that, or some others, but JavaScript probably the most widely used. And it's exciting to think how if you run into a business problem in the workplace, in life, at home, that just some quick scripting, so some saving to just a generic text file on your computer, on your mobile device, and you can solve many problems just with a quick script. So that's one thing that scripting is beneficial for.
Absolutely. The ability to just, the ability of mobility, maybe is the right term for that. The sense that you can just type something up and it just runs, you know? And that's another thing we would like to discuss in this video is scripting versus compiled programming. As we discussed in scripting, is you can really write in whatever program you'd like, mainly a text editor, save the file as the extension, like JavaScript would be .js, CSS would be .css, and HTML would be .html. And the computer can automatically run that. It's just built in for, I'd say a majority of all computers nowadays can run that.
Right, even IDEs, environments where you would use a compiled language and you would do some heavy lifting, such as game development or utility maintenance, you can actually script in those environments as well. So scripting is widespread.
Absolutely. And speaking of compiled programs, those are essentially things like C, C++, C#, I think Visual Basic is one as well. And those require the IDE, the integrated development environment, to like after you finish your program or you're working on it, you have to compile it, which means it essentially converts your code into binary language, which is what the computers read. So the main difference between scripting and compiled programming is the means of when it is converted into directions for the computer.
And there are specific IDEs, for example, Java, which is a compiled language and a very popular language. More on the object-oriented side, it gives you ability to freely use the library to make changes on the fly, if you will. But in that environment, they have a traditional NetBeans IDE, though there are universal IDEs now that you can utilize for many compiled languages.
Right. And so the easiest way to explain the difference between scripting and compiled languages in a more layman's terms would be if Dr. Bovin and I, we spoke different languages. Say I spoke English and he spoke Spanish. The difference, if we were referring to this as us being computers in that sense, a scripting language would be, I would write something in English, hand him that paper, and he would translate it himself as he read. Now, in compiled languages, I would automatically translate it after I wrote it and then give it to him. So generally, there's not much difference, and scripting can be a little bit harder on computers in terms of processing because they have to do that on the fly. But with modern day performance and hardware that is designed for maximum performance, it's not really that big of an issue.
And we look forward to bringing some examples that we can share with you, some probably small business challenges that you might face and where scripting could resolve those immediately, and maybe some creative approaches as well we'll probably bring in demo for you.
Absolutely.
So, well, thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to our next segment with you.
Thank you.